is the one.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll start again.
Okay, thank you.
With Prajna wisdom, a bodhisattva joyfully gives without attaching to the notion of generosity, upholds the precepts without attaching to its form, is patient without attaching to the notion of self, is diligent without giving rise to arrogance, and practices meditation without attaching to samadhi. Okay, Peter.
Prajna wisdom is regarded as the eye of the six perfections. Just as said in the sutras, the first five perfections are like the blind, in which the sixth perfection is the guide. Thus, the importance of Prajna wisdom can be seen. Stephanie?
Is prajna wisdom thought internally or externally? Intelligence and worldly knowledge, such as science or philosophy, acquired externally are incomparable to prajna wisdom, which comes internally. Prajna wisdom is the ability to attain inner awakening. It is to have the right view that all phenomena are dependent in origination and therefore empty in nature, thus leading to complete and perfect arising wisdom, both internally and externally. Living with prajna wisdom helps to eliminate interpersonal conflicts and enables freedom from ignorance and afflictions. Uh, Sheila.
Prajna wisdom is the profound and wondrous stage of awakening attained by all Buddhas. Put simply, Prajna wisdom can be divided into four levels. Number one, right view, wisdom as understood by sentient beings. Number two, dependent origination, wisdom as understood by the two vehicles, Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas. Number three, emptiness, wisdom as attained by bodhisattvas. And number four, prajna, true wisdom that is only attained by Buddhas of the three time periods. In other words, prajna wisdom can only truly be understood upon the attainment of Buddhahood. Who's here? Roel?
Prajna Paramita Heart Sutra states Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, while contemplating profoundly the Prajna Paramita, realized that the five skandhas are empty. This represents awakening and Prajna wisdom. Prajna wisdom is different from ordinary wisdom, and it does not equate with knowledge. Ordinary wisdom and knowledge view things as either wholesome or unwholesome, right or wrong, and beneficial or detrimental.
A person with Prajna wisdom has complete right view. They are not easily affected by external afflictions, so they do not give rise to defilements, create negative karmic actions, or suffers as a result. Hence, if one's view of the world are correct, one possesses modern Prajna wisdom. Luisa.
Sages like the Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas view the world as being dependent in origination. This means that all conditioned phenomena in this world do not arise from nothing and are unable to exist as their own entity. Their appearance and existence arise from the combination of various causes and conditions. Next is Kangxi.
Therefore, wholesome causes and conditions must be cultivated to live a happy life. One must broadly form affinities and develop them to have harmonious interpersonal relationships. If one is always calculative on the effects that should be received and always complaining about fate or blaming others, one will only be stuck in the cycle of ignorance and afflictions. Miss Lillian?
Thank you. Prajna wisdom was understood by bodhisattvas is the concept of emptiness, one's original nature. Wondrous existence arises from true emptiness means that only with emptiness is existence possible. Everything in the universe and in this world can come into being because of emptiness. For example, one's pockets need to be empty to carry money. One's nostrils need to be empty to breathe. One's stomach and intestines need to be empty to ensure a continued healthy life. Shall I continue?
Okay.
Thank you. The concept of right view, dependent origination, and emptiness are hard to grasp. It is even more difficult to understand Prajna wisdom. Indeed, what is Prajna wisdom? Gina Ang?
Prajna is the complete and clear wisdom of awakening that all Buddhas attain through realizing the true form of all phenomena. Prajna is pure wisdom without discrimination, to be without deluded emotions or thoughts. Prajna is true and formless wisdom, the direct realization of intrinsic empty nature and that there is nothing to be attained. Peter again.
Prajna wisdom not only leads one to thoroughly awaken to the true forms of all phenomena, but bids one of all delusions. Thus, one attains liberation. More importantly, Prajna wisdom is the eye to the Bodhisattva's practice, the six perfections. With Prajna wisdom, the Bodhisattva joyfully gives without attaching to the notion of generosity, upholds the precepts without attachment to its form, is patient without attaching to the notion of self, is diligent without giving rise to arrogance, and practices meditation without attachment to samadhi. Prajna is the guide which the other five perfections follow. Without it, the other five perfections are blind. Put simply, the first five perfections are worldly Dharma practices. Only by incorporating Prajna wisdom do they become transcendental Dharma practices. I guess back to Erwin.
For example, practicing generosity and prajna wisdom enables one to realize the emptiness of the three aspects of giving, i.e. giver, receiver, and what is given. Upholding the precepts with prajna wisdom allows one to benefit sentient beings. Having patience with prajna wisdom leads one to realize the patience of non-arising dharmas. Being diligent with prajna wisdom empowers one to progress tirelessly. Practicing meditative concentration with prajna wisdom leads one to realize and awaken to Buddhahood. To achieve liberation through the first five perfections, one must practice with the skillful means of non-attainment, in other words, prajna wisdom. Janelle?
Taking the practice of the six perfections as a whole, the practice of generosity. Not only does one overcome greed, but it also benefits others. The practice of discipline, not only will one prevent harming oneself, but others as well. The practice of patience. Not only does one overcome hatred, but it will also not harm others out of hatred. The practice of diligence. Not only does one overcome indolence, but it also teaches others not to be indolent. The practice of meditative concentration. Not only does one overcome a scattered and distracted mind, but it also teaches others not to be distracted and unfocused. the practice of wisdom. Not only does one overcome ignorance and deviant views, but it also teaches others to overcome ignorance and deviant views.
Yeah, finish it. I think that's the last.
Oh, okay. The six perfections are a positive practice of bodhisattvas. The meaning behind this practice is profound, for it helps one to establish wholesome dharma in life, to preserve a continuous enthusiasm for learning in life, and to finally reach the ultimate shore of perfection.
Thank you, everyone, for going through the articles. And I think this is a little bit heavy.
Yes.
So, yeah, a bit boring, but we still have to go through the momentum, to bring out the key points before I would elaborate on it. Uh, But just to give a simple example, when compared prajna, wisdom, and compassion, I did last time playing a game with some young people. I said, now I give them everyone a piece of paper and a pencil and let them draw something. And they cannot use any words just by drawing. And I asked them to draw wisdom. You imagine wisdom is something very difficult to describe, either even in words or in picture form. However, if I chose another title or heading at that time, like maybe compassion, it would be much easier for those kids to draw out those things. Hence, for doesn't matter if you find that this topic itself is dry, that means it's absolutely normal. Now let's go on. And I will just ask questions whereby these questions are all found inside those paragraphs. I already labeled them paragraph 1, 2, 3, which is much easier for you to get it. And the idea is just to go through the whole paragraph again. Okay. So I need the host to help me to, either you're volunteer. If there's silence, then maybe host will help me to appoint someone to answer to this question. All the questions, all the answer are inside here. It's just a refreshing of the whole paragraph. First of all, what is prajna wisdom? Who want to volunteer? Just unmute yourself.
Lillian, Prajna wisdom is regarded as the eye of the six perfections.
Okay, thank you. So it is the eyes of the sixth perfection. And we know that eye is the one that can see, can tell us what's happening in front. The second question is how to acquire intelligence.
Sheila?
Intelligence and worldly knowledge, such as science or philosophy, acquired externally are incomparable to prajna wisdom, which comes internally. Prajna
Okay.
wisdom is the ability to attain inner awakening.
Okay. Yeah. So prajna wisdom is acquired through. Over here, you can see the right view that all phenomena are dependent in origination and therefore empty in nature. Again, these are very heavy stuff. We will talk about it later on. Now, the next question. What are the 4 levels of prajna wisdom?
Seth?
Right view, dependent origination, emptiness, and prajna.
Yes. Yeah, because the reason why Master Shingen had arranged in such a way was because it's very difficult for people to understand what prajna is all about, and maybe something that is put it more easy way of understanding is to start from right view, which is something that we can achieve, and not something that is so far out of reach. However, right view itself is just a small subset of Prajna wisdom. It is not the complete Prajna wisdom. Therefore, Master Xing Yun, he arranged in such a way that we can have a little glimpse into what Prajna is about, and he arranged in this 4 level, in these 4 sequences. Let's move on to the next questions. What? Okay. So, how did Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva realize the 5 skandhas are empty?
Janet.
While contemplating profoundly the Prajnaparamita, realized that the 5 skandhas are empty.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. So, to gain this Prajna wisdom is not about reading books alone. It is not only just experiencing what's happened, it also requires this meditative contemplation. Henceforth, we know that in our 3 training, we have, first of all, we have discipline, then we have meditation concentration, and then the third one is wisdom. These meditative concentrations are very related to Prajna wisdom. They are to in fact the 3 even discipline itself, they are like a tripod stand, which are very important. You cannot have one missing. With these contemplations, it helps to gain insight to the truth. That's why when Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, when she was practicing, she actually do contemplate. This means she do practice meditations and found this nature of what? Emptiness in the 5 skandhas. So that is a very brief explanation of this particular sentence. And then, so this part, you see, I especially highlight this 1, 2, 3, 4 are actually related back to these 4 points. So the first one is on right view dependent, then second one dependent origination, the third one is emptiness and prajna. I hope that at the end of this class you go through again and then you refer them back. The elaboration of what is right view and what is dependent origination, you try to figure out what are the differences between them. Because today I want to say something more other than this one, because these are pretty straightforward in the article itself. I want to show the last part whereby he mentioned about the link between prajna wisdom and the other 5 paramitas, which wasn't being covered in this article. So I want to elaborate on that part. And this part, I'm not going to go through that. Excuse me. So now, when we talk about this prajna paramita, right? We talk about these things. Wait, where is my? Okay, before we go on that, what is ordinary wisdom and knowledge? So the question is, what is ordinary wisdom and knowledge?
Janet.
Ordinary wisdom and knowledge view things as either wholesome or unwholesome, right or wrong, beneficial or detrimental.
Okay. These are the basic and key knowledge that we should acquire. However, this itself is not sufficient because we don't get to see the things that are actually sometimes very subjective. When we see things as wholesome or unwholesome, right or wrong, beneficial or detrimental, we are looking at things in in the effect aspect. We don't see the causes, we don't see the conditions. What are those presented to us are actually effects. Henceforth, these are called ordinary wisdom and knowledge. Whereas for Prajna wisdom is you have to go through, understand the causes and effect, the causes and the conditions, and as a result, you see whatever you see right now, the effect. It's just like, you see something, um, you you see a pen. So ordinary wisdom is you know that this is a pen. You may analyze it, and based on the features, the usage, and all these things, then you come up to the conclusion that this is a pen. This is just ordinary wisdom. What Prajna wisdom is go more further than that, whereby we saw it earlier on, explained by Master. It can be through right view. It can be dependent origination. Just now I mentioned about the part on causes and condition. That is where the second point about dependent origination. However, if you go one step further, you see that these things are only all makeups of various elements. You see the empty nature of this pen. And as such, your wisdom level, you go one higher level up towards the other. Now, what I'm trying to convey to you is just a kind of literal prashna. That means prashna through listening and hearing or seeing. Then you have the second level of prashna, which is the prashna of the contemplation, which requires you to sit down and meditate. And based on whatever you have learned, either from the sutra or from any other sources you hear from the master, the teachers, all these combine, and you use this in your meditation practice. And from there, you gain through the insight, and this is where your prajna wisdom is all about. Hence, you can tell, I hope from now, at least a rough idea, why ordinary wisdom is different from the prajna wisdom. At least you can go, if you couldn't go to the third step of emptiness and prajna, we can at least go through the first level of right view and dependent origination. Okay. The right view is more of the first one, like wholesome or unwholesome, right or wrong, and beneficial or detrimental. Okay, then next we have what are the okay, so what are the benefits of having prajna wisdom?
Janelle.
It gets rid of all delusions.
Yeah, okay, it helps us to reach all delusions. As such, when we see this pen, again as the same example, you may see it just as a pen itself when you are using the ordinary wisdom. However, if you use prajna wisdom, you can see the dependent originations, you can see the emptiness within it. So you don't get to feel sad or unhappy or cry over when your pen ran out of ink or when the pen was broken, because you also see the natures of conditions. Every conditions will lead to a different outcome. And okay, what else? So with prajna wisdom, we can see that bodhisattva joyfully gives without attaching to the notion of generosity. And this is your first paramita. And then uphold the precept without attaching to its form. Second paramita. and is patient without attaching to the notion of self, the third paramita, and is diligent without giving rise to arrogance, is the fourth paramita, and practice meditation without attaching to samadhi is the fifth paramita. So prajna is the guide which the other five perfections follow. Without it, the other five perfections are blind. And so let's go on. And with prajna, wisdom, this is what mentioned over here. We realize that the emptiness of three aspects of giving, and we upholding the precepts with prajna wisdom allows one to benefit sentient beings. Having patience with prajna wisdom lead to realize the patience of non-arising of dharmas. Being diligent with prajna wisdom empower one to progress tirelessly, and practicing meditative concentration with prajna wisdom leads one to realize and awaken to Buddhahood. Okay, these things get a little bit tougher and tougher now, and henceforth I'm going to show you my other PowerPoint to elaborate on this one. And we see how the link between the five of them. And you can unmute yourself if you have any question pertaining to that. This one is prajna wisdom and other five paramitas. Over here, they use the word perfection. I don't know your how much you know about the word paramitas. The word paramitas means going to the other shore of liberation. When we talk about the six paramita, we talk about the first one on generosity, and then the second one of upholding the precepts, and then we have the practice of tolerance or patience, and then we have diligence, we have meditation and prajna itself. Sometimes when we are doing this practice, I believe everyone will encounter some kind of obstacles and challenges, and you may think to yourself that, hey, I'm trying to follow the Buddha's teachings, and I want to practice the six paramitas. That's been moving on to the to the shore of liberation. But why is it that I don't see myself progress. Rather, I feel myself more unhappy. So from this area, we have to put these two terms together. Okay. First of all, we have, for example, the generosity paramita. Okay. So this generosity and paramita, you must put them together. A lot of people are also giving money. A lot of people also doing donation. So what's the difference between the donation by the genuine, the real Buddhists and those who are not? When I say Buddhist, I don't mean that you take refuge and then you are called Buddhist. Over here, I mean the Buddhist way, the Buddhism way, the Buddha way. So even if you are not a Buddhist, but you are doing the Buddha way, you can also achieve this generosity paramita. Give a very simple example over here. When we talk about this emptiness of three aspects of giving, so we have this giver, receiver, and what is given. So when we are giving a gift, especially during Christmas, we used to give away gift. So there is this person who is I am giving, and subconsciously we have that kind of feeling is that we are better off, we are helping others. We create kind of sense of pride and clinging onto the notion of I am a good person. And then there is this receiver, someone who is lesser than us, and someone that we sympathize with them. one who receive help. Over here, we're clinging on I and you. Then the third one is the give. Something is given out, cash or kinds, which was formerly mine, and it helps you to release suffering. So me and my gift. Ordinary people, or what we say ordinary wisdom, when we are doing this giving, we tend to fall into the trap of there's this giver, there's this receiver, and there is what is given. Hence, when things doesn't work out, okay, the gift that you want to give to maybe a charitable organization, somehow on the road, if haven't even reached the person yet, maybe the parcel was lost or whatever, you get mad, because you still hang on to that gift that I have, or it 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 did reach the person, but the person wasn't happy with your gift, and you may thinking that I've been saving for months to get your gift, and now you tell me you're not happy. I went through poverty before. I was poor before. Whatever was given, I feel very grateful. I feel very happy. And why you are not happy? And why you are not grateful? So this is the thing whereby we have these three things. You can't hear me.
We can.
Can?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, because someone put that he can't hear me. I maybe it's because the internet is not stable.
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone can hear? Okay.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Yeah, I'm a bit worried because my internet here sometimes also get a little bit unstable. And because of that, we may get mad about that. We use whatever we used to think to apply it on the other person. If I had been poor before and I had went through this before and I had been very grateful before, why can't you? This is when we cannot separate this I and you and the gift. We have this expectation, not only expectation in terms of rewards, but also use what we have done in the past to expect on others. For example, that's what happening in South Africa. And I used to hear people saying that, you gave them a lot of things they don't appreciate. Even if you are an employer, you treat your employee very well, you never know. The one who kidnapped you are actually your employee. So maybe you didn't permit Zoom to make use of audio. You can try to click on the mute volume. Or you're talking to someone else. Oh, yes. Some people at the bottom right hand side, they didn't click. That's why they cannot hear any voice. Okay, so coming back to this South African example, and we feel that these South African are very ungrateful. Not all. Okay, make it clear. I'm not referring to all. So sometimes you will feel people we think that these people are ungrateful. They are not. Their employer had been treating them very well, but why they treat them in this manner? If we are being thrown into this culture, whereby you're born in a culture since young, you saw your parents stealing, you saw your neighbor stealing, you saw so much of kidnap, robbery around. You don't have the right view. You remember the very first prajna is right view, being able to know what is wholesome and unwholesome. So for these people, they don't have this knowledge. if you see them as you hope to see what you respond, then you're going to get yourself into trouble. But if you see them just as you want to give that, so you don't go a step further of thinking too much, then you don't won't get mad to them. So while I was no while I am in South Africa, sometimes I do explain to people that you just give, and even if they're going to treat us not good in return, you have to accept them. You have to accept them as who they are. And this is where you look one step further when you look deeper into dependent origination. When you see the causes and effect, we look at effect and we become very mad, and then we jump to conclusion. But when you see the causes and conditions, you accept them as who they are. And that is the reason why Master Xing Yun, he emphasized so much on education. Just by giving, you won't change a person to a better person. Just by giving, you will make a person know how to be a good person. But by education, you can help a person to become a good person. At least we can help them to attain the first level of the how we say it, the sentient beings kind of wisdom, the very first level of right view, which is something is not is possible. It's just that they don't have this environment in their own country. But I do have very nice South Africans, so don't stereotype and thought everyone are like that. And same thing, when you come to volunteering work, your work in the temple or in any charitable organization, any NGOs, you may also face with this problem. I remember when I was young, I actually wanted to study um, social social science, so that I want to become a social worker. I want to study social work, but I didn't get to the faculty that I wanted. And I will always observe those people who are social worker, but I realized something. Not many of them stick to that job. They quit the job after a few years working as a social worker. And I start thinking, why was that so? I believe that they have chosen to study social work, and they have a lot of love in them, compassion in them, and they want to become a social worker. But why after a few years they quit? I got this answer when I get to know about this one, this emptiness of three aspects of giving. Even as a volunteers, for example, maybe you are helping some uh, those what is that word? Delinquent what? I've not been using that word. There's been those young teenager who committed a lot of
Juvenile
offenses.
delinquent.
Sorry?
Juvenile delinquent.
Yes,
Juvenile.
juvenile delinquent. Yes, juvenile delinquent. So and then you're helping them, you know, and then you have this me helping a juvenile delinquent, and then teaching him or her a method to get out of those bad habits. After one time, 1 week, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, you don't see progress. You feel sad. You give up. The reason is because we didn't apply this emptiness of the three aspects of giving. Because there, there is me helping this person, and there is this poor guy or poor girl who need to be helped, and my consultation, my teachings, and whatever. And also when you come to the temple, you volunteer, sometimes you get scolding from your venerables, then you feel very sad. And then you think that you have put in a lot of effort doing a certain things, you've done well, but then the venerable say, no, 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 this is not good enough, this thing. You feel very sad, because we also hang on to the things that we do.
And don't come
But
back.
yes.
And don't come back now.
Yes. You're no longer coming back to the temple anymore, and and well, but Buddha never make you angry. The sutra is not wrong either. You see. And after all, we venerables, we are human beings. We are also practicing like every one of you. The only thing is that we are called Futama, you are called Patama. That's the difference. So, well, if we are able to look at this thing, we reflect on this giver, receiver, what is given, and you put them separately rather than I am offering my service. I should be actually I can use this volunteer works to go outside, work overtime and make money, and then I come here and then I got this kind of response. We tends to compare and then we ties to things, but this generosity, why it doesn't lead to paramita? Now you get it, because we don't have this idea of emptiness of the three aspect of giving. This is the prajna part. With the generosity, without the prajna, it will never lead you to paramita. You will never go to the other shore. You just change from one charitable organization to another charitable organization. You move from one church to another church. That's all. Until you find a church that give you all the praises, until you find one charitable organization give you all the praises, and that yes. Yeah, because yes, you are right, we can't truly get the true joy of giving, because as long as still I and you, I am my gift, either time or services, we can't truly enjoy. I always give, and I always tell myself true. I tell people about this. If I am not happy, it's nothing wrong with the Dharma. It is because either I misinterpreted the Dharma or I use it wrongly. Henceforth, in Buddhism, we keep on saying that, oh, you must donate, you must be generous, either with your time, with your money, or with your wisdom. I've been trying that. What's wrong? And then that was because of this. Okay, give my real life example. Recent year, just last year, we've been doing this donation. We donated face masks, and then I received complaints. Two complaints of the similar source. They say that I'm not making right use of the money. I was what? I'm not making right use of the money. I buy this for the hospital. You think that is not right use? And they use some slandering words. I feel really hurt that time. I was very badly hurt. And after that, I start to calm down and reflect and think. And I realized that why they say this kind of slandering word to me, because they are suffering. What kind of suffering they are having? Because they didn't get what they want. The first one was she wanted to donate food to the poor people, and she don't want to donate masks to the hospital. You imagine at that time, whereby that was our first pit in South Africa, a lot of people are admitted into hospital. So we have a meeting. Our meeting, the first meeting, we come up with the consensus that we want to donate masks to hospital. But in the second meeting, she came and she said that no, she want to donate food, and she make a fuss out of the subsequent meeting. And she asked, she gathered a lots of so-called her gang to work against me together, just to try to overthrow our decision. It's not my decision, our decision. So you get really sad and angry over there, because you are really working hard. This is I doing the giving. I plan everything, all this thing. And later I think back, because why she want to slander, or she get people to slander me, was because she didn't get what she want. She want to donate food. And when you look at it and you see that she was also suffering, and well, that doesn't really matter. The second one was another guy, not from our organization, but they heard about us donating to one particular hospital. And again, he also wrote something that, oh, you're not using money at the right place. You know, there are another hospital who needed even more. Why are you doing that? You must be discrimination. Is it because of a racial issue? That's why you want to donate to that particular place or whatever. And I was like, okay, what did I do wrong? And then I really get very mad at that time. After that, I sit back and I look at back. I know why. He was also very angry because he was angry over the government who can't give them the supplies. But then he cannot go and scold the government because the government is not being efficient. So what can they scold? They can only scold someone who donated something but didn't donate to them. It's a way of him channeling his anger from the inefficient of the government to the private charitable organization. And you know the scared and worries that he go through because COVID-19 is so scary at that moment, even now. And he had that kind of sense of anxiety and fear within himself. When you look back and you see that he was suffering, and after a while, it's okay. And that's how I got my two examples. So I thank them for that because I look back and I see myself also hanging on to this idea of giver, receiver, and what is given. As I mentioned earlier on, yeah, I'm a full timer, but I'm not there yet. I haven't reached paramita. And these are a lot of things whereby it's very, very practical. It's just that we didn't apply the Dharma correctly. And for example, we may give up hope and think that, no, I'm not going to donate anymore because I only going to invite a lot of slandering. And I feel sad, I spend so much time and whatever. And we thought there's something wrong with the Dharma. Maybe Buddha said it wasn't correct. But I always tell myself, if anything wrong, it must be I didn't apply correctly. And it was only when I sit back and look at it from the point of view of Four Noble Truth. At that time, I uses the Four Noble Truth. That's why there are many methods. Okay, choose one that you're most comfortable with. When I use this Four Noble Truth and reflect and see the suffering of the others and why they do this kind of slandering, then you find that they are also someone that requires our sympathies too. Okay, so you can think out of your own personal life and how you're going to apply this thing. Okay, so you see, just dana itself doesn't lead you to paramita. Okay, where is my next one? This sila, I know most of you already know these 5: killing, stealing, lying, sexual misconduct, and intoxication. And but then a lot of people have the wrong perception of this one. When we look at this Prajna, and oh, I didn't change the heading. We look at in terms of, first of all, this one will associate to your no killing. Then the second one is no stealing, and then your no sexual misconduct, and no lying, and no intoxication, right? So all these things, you can see how they are being linked. And the reason of having these precepts, this sila, is to develop the kind of compassion, integrity, relationship, and trust and sanity within us. It is not a kind of a commandment. Okay, it's not a commandment, it's not a sin. In Buddhism, we only talk about unwholesome deeds. But in the maybe in the early 19th century or 20th centuries, we sometimes would say unwholesome deeds. We translated it as sin, but these are not sin. And when you break all these precepts, you won't be condemned. Don't worry. Okay. It's not a commandment. However, it will still have an effect on you. It is about these unwholesome deeds that harm ourselves and others. What is this precept is all about is about purification of our body, speech, and mind. And it is part of the three training to liberation. I mentioned earlier on about the three training, your precepts, your meditation, and your prajna wisdom. Without these precepts, you won't be able to meditate because your mind will be filled with guilt and remorse. All these things will start creeping out. Okay. And instead of seeing precepts is something as a negative one, it is positive, like what I mentioned earlier on. It's about developing compassion, integrity, relationship, trust, and keeping your sanity. So you don't feel so crushed, you don't see you are being crushed by all the precepts, rather you see precepts like your friends. And then this one is about prajna, and um, over the article it was being translated as patient, and I checked from the dictionary, and let's see what does this word patient, because it's not a very good translation in English. We can't get a one-to-one word to translate this word shanti, this Sanskrit word shanti. Yeah, Erwin, you are right. Okay, so this shanti, it includes all of those here. Ability to keep calm and collected under trying conditions, and the ability to endure pain or hardship, willingness to put up with a certain amount of something or to accept differences and incongruities, and forbearance, patience, self-control, restraint, and tolerance under provocation. And the last one is acceptance, assenting and embracing someone or something you don't like without protesting and without trying to change them. Why I put this, especially the last one, was is something that when I first heard about someone describe this word shanti as embrace, I was like, oh, yes, I know what's wrong with my practice. I always have this wrong concept or wrong idea, as I said, if something not right happening to me, it must be that I've applied it wrongly. And I was wondering, I've been trying to endure, and you know with all those people who is difficult to work with, and why I still couldn't reach the other shore, because it's not just enduring. Because when you have this enduring concept, you still have this I enduring you and the action of enduring. You still can use just now the emptiness of the three aspect. But now this thing becomes, you change to the giving part, change to endurance. And it makes things so tough to understand. And I got it wrong. Let's see okay. So over here is, you not only endure, but you assenting to it and embrace. Just like what I mentioned about, you know that this person, he was brought up in this kind of environment, and he don't know what is meant by gratefulness. If you are able to embrace him as what he is, then you don't have this kind of I am enduring. I am practicing patience. I am practicing tolerance. I am practicing forbearance. A lot of things is you slowly you can see the link between not only the Shanti paramita and Prajna paramita, you also can see Shanti paramita and Dana paramita, because you are not only being patient, but you are also a kind of generosity. This time, this generosity is what you are embracing a whole person. The sixth paramita, although we say that Prajna paramita is the I, is the one leading. However, you can see the link between the six of them. You cannot throw and then remove one of them. And I think it's 9 o'clock already. And what happened was that some people also ask, why is it there's no compassion paramita? Why is there no metta paramita over here? Why is it there's no karuna paramita over here? It's inside. It's already inside. That's why they didn't specifically put up this karuna or metta paramita. First of all, you need to have this to practice. And when you look back, then you know that, are you really enduring, or you are just enduring for the moment to wait for things to change? For example, you work with a colleague that you don't like. So you say, no, I'm going to endure him or her. So you're going to wait and see who quit the job first. So this is not the patient paramita. It's patient but no paramita. Patient without prajna. See why we get so miserable, why we get so angry, is because we didn't get it right. Yes. Yeah, you're right. We try to change other, we can't embrace and accept. Even after listening to this class, I don't think everyone will immediately know how to practice this Shanti paramita. We tend to have this we have this tendency to slip back into our habit. And what we need to do is, you need to constantly refresh and think over what you have learned and applied it. You failed it this time, the second time. It's all right to keep on repeating, listening to these 6 parameters. I learned about that more than 20 years ago. Even till now, I'm still teaching and I'm still learning. Every time I teach, I come up with something, not something new, but my own experiences, and I find it so exciting. Yeah. Yeah, you can recite it like a mantra. And sometimes while you're walking or you are doing something, then you think about it. Why we must observe 5 precepts? I don't like it. You, it give me so much of restraint, and I don't understand that. But just now you see how I compare the 5 precepts, and then the positive aspect of the 5 precepts is trying to develop this kind of compassion, trust, within us. It, you can't be a person who understand Dharma and practice Dharma and want to realize the Dharma, and yet you're telling the lie. The Dharma is the truth, but at the other end, you're lying. How can these two see eye to eye? Never. If you want to see the truth, then you must be truthful. First of all, you must be truthful to yourself to see the imperfect you. All of us imperfect, and it's difficult to accept we are imperfect. We tend to look at others rather than ourselves. Okay, so to embrace oneself and others, understand that the others are also suffering. Just now, my example about those people And then embrace with prajna, wisdom, not embrace for the sake of embracing. You won't be a walking volcano. Anytime will erupt, because we don't have this kind of prajna within us to see when people tell you, "Aya, forget about it lah. Aya, forgive him. Aya, he is always like that." And when you hear this, you get even more angry, because everyone beside you trying to console you are actually denying your emotion. You are already very angry, but everybody is denying your emotion. Okay. I I used to feel very mad, when people start to deny my emotion. I was the one hurt, and then you're trying to tell me, okay, it's okay, never mind. Or maybe someone passed away in your family. Then say, everyone has to die one day. Life is impermanence. Please don't tell me this. I know all these facts, but applying this fact is another story. So I'd rather you sit by the person and then let the person cry, because they are not ready to process this kind of information. And this processing of information is not when someone die or something bad happen, or when someone do you injustice and someone else asks you to forgive, and then you say, yeah, Buddhism said we must forgive, so I must forgive. It won't works. It won't works, I tell you, because you are using knowledge. You are not using prajna. When you're using knowledge to tell yourself that you have to forgive, I wouldn't deny the 100%, but the effect is very mild. It's just like, for example, I have a pen. I use a scotch tape to hold it. After maybe 1 week, the scotch tape will peel off and it drop down. Okay. And if I don't use a scotch tape, I use a super glue to glue it. It will stick. If you use ordinary knowledge, it's just like scotch tape. It will drop off. Prajna wisdom is like a glue that it will stick and firm. And this is how things work. I would say that whatever I tell you are all mine. Nothing belongs to you. But if you think, you apply in your daily life, maybe you make mistake one time, 2 times, 1 year, 10 years, it doesn't matter. I was like, okay, I've been practicing Buddhism for about 30 years. And then sometimes I realize that, oh gosh, I did it wrongly all this while. I have to go back to point zero. But don't worry, even if you have to go back to point zero, you don't make the same mistake. There are maybe 3 or 4 paths. At least you know that you tried the first path is wrong. So you get back to the 0 one. You will never go back to the first path. It's just that you still don't know which is the second, third, and fourth path, which is the correct path. Maybe you still don't know. But at least you know that the first path is wrong. So this is also part of the patience with yourself, patient for yourself to grow. There's no way you can rush yourself to grow. Okay, yeah, walking volcano. And I have to go a little bit faster. Um, yeah, the diligent part. Um, okay, is that different type of diligence is a physical one, like practicing generosity and observing precepts. And then you have your mental diligence, that's been practicing patience or shanti or embrace, meditative concentration and wisdom. And then I use this one. So you can see this one is a meditative state. Okay. Of course, it helps also in your daily mind thinking about it, but in actual fact, it's a meditative state. That's why I said meditation is very important. So you prevent the unarisen of unwholesome state of mind. This means you are able to, when you are meditating, you are able to reach that level whereby you can see that this unarisen, unwholesome state of mind is going to come out. Okay. Haven't come up, but it's going to come up. It's a very high level of meditative state. But once you are able to see this thing, you can move out of this meditative state. Even in your daily life, you can sense your thoughts appearing, and then of course abandon arisen of unwholesome state of mind, and then arouse those unarisen wholesome state of mind. And then the last one is maintain a rising wholesome state of mind. Um, okay. So this one is about the meditation part. Okay. And try to relinquish harmful mental qualities and nurture beneficial mental qualities. These will require a lot of training. And oh yeah, I don't know your meditative standard level over here, but this was what I was teaching my other class. But I did make some adaptation because this one is really tough. So this is a book on the by Master Zhi. I'm almost I'm almost on the fourth chapter of this part already. I'm going to the meditation, but there are a lot of prerequisite within that. And I hope one day when I have done everything I put up on the YouTube, I will let your venerable know, and then maybe you can watch the YouTube about all this meditation. And I have to go a little bit faster. Is it the last one? Oh yeah, good. Finished, done. Now I pass it back to the host. I'm free. I'm going to the paramita.
That was very enlightening. It's true. It's really deep and difficult to practice, but that's why we have this weekly session. So every week we will be reminded, and hopefully through these reminders, um, it will become part of our behavior, and so we don't need to like be always reminded. We just learn to do it. Any
Yeah,
questions?
yeah, question. Sorry, I didn't have too much time for the question part. Any question?
My question?
Ask Sarah.
No,
That's
man.
my question.
Yeah.
Anybody?
This require a lot of thinking, contemplation, and then prajna is not something that can be said easily. But in our practice, we always think about first of all is thinking, and listening, and then second one is thinking, and then the third one is practice. Uh, you see, why sometimes we make mistake is because we listen and then we jump to practicing, and then when our practicing doesn't turns out well, we just give up. But when our practicing doesn't come up well, we go back to thinking. So you reflect and think what's wrong. This one gradual and sudden realization of enlightenments. Different people have different saying. There's been the progress itself is called uh, is a gradual, but then the enlightenment is that particular moment. Aha, yeah, I make the mistake, or aha, I know, I got it, and you require that kind of pre-training before you can have this sudden enlightenment. It cannot be as someone who had not been doing anything and suddenly out of nowhere when you're walking on the road and then you gain enlightenment. So is a gradual practice, sudden enlightenment. There's some people say it in this manner. Yes, any other than this question?
I think that's why in diligence is part of the paramita. So you can see that we really have to put in effort and diligence in order to get to this. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, how come during the time of Buddha a lot can attain arahat? Oh, yeah, if we look at the history of the Buddha, the biography of the Buddha had chosen certain time, certain place to be born into the world. He didn't choose any other time. So one of the time that he chose was that it must be that there are already a group of people ready to understand his Dharma. That's why during those times, there are a lot of arahat. That's first thing. Second thing is, now why very few? Buddha is not here. There knows one to come and teach us. So we really rely on all this book. And of course, this person, Master Zhi, he was known as the little Sakya in the eastern region. That's been China. And he was really, it's not just smart, it's the kind of Prajna wisdom. But nowadays, lesser and lesser people are able to reach that level of Prajna wisdom. Yeah. There, there are many reasons to that. We are so-called now at the declining stage of the Dharma. Henceforth, less and less people know about Buddhism. When I say no, not knowing that, not saying that I know there's a Buddha and the teachings, but truly understand what was inside this Dharma. So last time during Buddha's time is this pyramid, this inverted triangle. That's mean there are more arahat and less of those lower roots. But now it's the other way around. So there are more of those ordinary people and then less of those enlightened beings. Okay. If no more, shall we conclude, Owen?
Yes.
This will be my last class for this semester because I have some Chinese classes starting from next week, so I won't be joining you in future for these English classes.
Oh.
But if my YouTube is up, I will give the link to your venerable.
Yes. We really do hope that sometime in the future we will have the right causes and condition for you to join us again. But anyway, thank you very much, Sefo. It was very enlightening. How about the other masters? You have anything to add, to comment for us?
I feel great to have Venerable Chetty. So grateful to have teacher to explain the Prajna wisdom for us tonight. Even though we're supposed to have meditative concentration this week, but then we still shift Prajna wisdom, and Peter got shocked. He thought that he missed out one lesson. How come suddenly it's Prajna wisdom for this week? But anyway, because yeah, like what Venerable Chetty say, she will be busy starting from March. So I quickly grabbed the opportunity to invite her here tonight. Even myself, if you I've explained about Prajna, well, I have study group in explaining the Hat Sutra. When I go through, every time when I read it, I understood it different way. And of course, like what teachers was mentioned, every time we read, it's not just a reminder, but then we just got a bit by bit that I seem like I understood a little. So I'm so happy to have teacher to lead us for this session again, and we hope that we can see you again soon in the future.
Okay.
But I know teacher has also English group from South Africa. The time here is 2 p.m. or 8 a.m., right?
2 p.m. 2
Uh,
p.m. Saturday.
2 p.m. Saturday.
Yeah.
So
I
can
think it clashes with your time, right?
no, no, that we already shifted the other study group.
Oh,
So
okay.
and this is English study group. So maybe some of you have time. You can we join you, teacher?
Yeah, sure, sure, sure. If they are keen, yeah, please do.
Okay, maybe I will just send the link if ever.
Okay.
Okay. So since today is Chinese New Year, still Chinese New Year. Chinese celebrate
Yeah.
Chinese New Year 15 days. So this Friday is Chap Gome. So it's still have few days more. And then I prepared prayer the prayer a prayer for the new year. Shall we read together?
Yes.
Erwin, can I share the screen, please?
Yes, you can.
Thanks. Okay. Okay. Can you see?
Yes.
A Prayer for the New Year by Venerable Master Xing Yun. O great compassionate Buddha, a new year has finally come to the world again. In the temples, the tolls of bells, at the neighbors, the sound of fireworks, on the door, the red New Year score. On the wall, a new calendar. Everything suggests that all things change from old to new when a new year begins. O great compassionate Buddha, at the beginning of the new year, I will look upon everything in the past as a yesterday that has passed away, everything in the future as a today that is newly born. I would like to express my wishes. At the beginning of this new year, I wish for harmony in the family and happiness at home, contentment in life and good act to help the world, stability in emotion, and dignity in character. The elimination of bad habits and at once in moral cultivation, determination in action, and compassion in relationship, contentment in career and health, in body and mind, improvement in cultivation and increase in wisdom, but abundance in Buddhism and emancipation for all beings, steadfastness in society and happiness and people, peace on earth and universal rejoicing. O great compassionate Buddha, in a way in the new year, please grant that every word I say may be compassionate, kind, and encouraging, that everything I do may be acceptable to most people and beneficial to witnesses, that every intention I have made may be a blessing to others and a transfer of merits to them, that every action I take may be beneficial to the nation and of assistance of the world, that I may be willing to contribute my own body and mind to society, that I may be willing to share everything I own with others. I pray to you, Buddha, please bless and support me with your compassion. Allow me to share in the suffering of others. Allow me to promote the well being of society. O great compassionate Buddha, promoting Dharma is my domestic duty. Benefiting all living beings is my professional responsibility. I want to support Buddhist institutions that cultivate potential. I vow to disseminate Buddhist sutra and books that benefit the world and help people. I vow to participate in the activities of temples and share and spare no efforts to practice Dhamma. I vow to progress sincerely, with determination. O great compassionate Buddha, please give me strength. Allow me to progress on the way to enlightenment wholeheartedly, without idleness and without regrets. Please give me faith. Allow me to surmount the barrier of delusion on the way to Buddhahood and to benefit both self and others. O great compassionate Buddha, a new spirit infuses the new year. Allow me to start everything anew. O great compassionate Buddha, a new spirit infuses the new year. Allow me to start everything anew. Namo Sakyamuni Buddha. Namo Sakyamuni Buddha. Namo Sakyamuni Buddha.
So,
Dedication of merits.
dedication of merits and then picture. Okay, turn on your video cam. So we have a lot of participants today. So we can have more people on our picture. Ready with your big smile?
实
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Lotus flower. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sefo.
Thank you. See
Thank you,
you.
everyone.
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
谢谢，
감사합니다.
谢谢。
Thank you.
晚安，大家晚安。